All right, we are live right now, and this is Daily Fish. We are coming to you from Vegas and also from Myrtle Beach. I'm John Daly. John Hardison is with us. Unfortunately, Eric Fish Snyder is having some audio difficulties, so we are kicking in there. Hopefully, he just came on. Can you hear us, buddy? He can't hear us, and we cannot hear him. So there's something going on here. Anyway, we'll just kick off the show. It'll be Hardline and me talking about a couple of different things here. We're going to talk about the crazy weekend in the NFL. That's kind of started off. And Hardline, let me just throw out a couple of quick things to you here. I don't think there's any clear cut number one team. Yeah, the Eagles didn't play this weekend, but I got to tell you, I just think the league's really gotten a ton of parity. I mean, you saw teams that you weren't think were going to win, and then all of a sudden they won. I thought what the Jets did was so impressive yesterday, what they did against the Bills. Granted, it was home. I think there could have been a pass interference call at the end there that could have helped the Bills, but probably the refs would have been killed trying to get out of the stadium there. But anyway, those, there was a lot of different things. I thought most of the games are fabulous. So give me your take.
So my biggest take, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you fine. Yeah.
So my biggest takeaway from this weekend is there isn't one last ride for a lot of the older quarterbacks, as much as we may love the idea of someone being able to go off into the sunset. We talked about this going into this season after the Devontae Adams trade, where I thought the Packers weren't going to get much better than what they were. I didn't think that I thought they played in a bad division, and because the division was bad, they would probably come out on top. But unfortunately, it's not looking that way. Minnesota looks like they're in the driver's seat right now. Aaron Rodgers looks lost. I personally believe that this is the end of his time in Green Bay. I think he's going to demand a trade at the end. Tom Brady looked a little more Tom Brady-esque, but it still, pales into comparison to what we've known him to be. Unfortunately, luckily for him, he plays in a bad division where he still might come out on top because of that. But you're right. There's a lot of good teams that are out there now. Some teams, especially the Jets, that we didn't expect to be this good, and they are good this season. They're almost on top of the AFC East. I don't think anybody had them there or going there at the beginning of the season. But yeah, look, this is the time of the, I want to say third, maybe fourth year quarterback making that ascend right now. And there's a lot of good young quarterbacks, a lot of good young players in the league right now. And one thing I will say is in terms of the Jets, wait until Garrett Wilson gets going. We really even haven't seen him going yet, and they still have a lot of firepower. I think they still got to figure out their situation at quarterback. Is Zach Wilson their answer? Are they going to stick behind him moving forward, or with the amount of quarterbacks coming up this year, are they going to make a change? So there's a lot of good young quarterbacks coming into their prime, and I'm waiting to see. And a lot of the older ones that, there's some things that are questionable.
All right. Fish, can you hear us now?
Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning.
Glad you're back on here.
I'm good with technical difficulties. Again, I love Hardline. I disagree with you. Awesome. Fucking awesome is what Tom Brady said. I watched that entire game start to finish. 9 drops, 2 touchdowns dropped. And that last drive against the Rams' number 2 defense, when he hugged Byron Leftwich, you could see all the emotion coming out. That's one observation. Yeah. Second observation I got to make is I'm really mad at the Titans because I bet them, how could you put Malik Willis out there and then admit that we don't have a package for him to throw the fucking ball? I would fire the coach. I really would. And make the kid look bad. I know he's a top draft pick, but my God, last week they won because Derrick Henry ran for 220 yards hardline, and he was 5 out of 16. He was 5 out of 18 last night for 80 yards. The kid's not ready to play. Get a backup quarterback if Tannehill can't go. My third observation is I can't wait for the draft.
But here's the thing, Fish. I'm gonna speak on the Malik Willis thing real quick. Is
you can't.
Do you make a package for a guy, even though you took him? I think what did Willis go in the second or third round?
Second.
After you've given Ryan Tannehill all that money, I mean, they gave him almost $100 million, if not $100
and deserved. He's 29-12. I did my homework on this. He's at the third best record in the league since 2020. Oh, by the way, 13-4 last year without Derrick Henry for 6 games. He's never. He's been in the playoffs every year, and he's got playoff wins. He's better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league. He gets no respect because he hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. So I'm not putting Malik Willis has got a great future, but get a backup in there. He can win. It's about winning games now. and they could have won that game last night. They had the stranglehold on Mahomes, but if you have a quarterback in your mid, he can't throw the ball. Okay, I'm going on this. I'm pissed off. The Bears put out this press release. We finally have a quarterback because he rushed for 178 yards. Justin Fields is coming into his own, but that's bullshit. Quarterbacks need to throw the ball to win in this league. 178 yards. Ask Lamar Jackson when he said, I'm going to continue running this league, and he missed 6 games because he broke his ankle last year. It's going to happen.
I'm just saying, Fish, look, with Justin Fields, you're talking about the Bears. They're talking about a team that predominantly runs the ball. And even when you have a good quarterback, look at Jay Cutler, they try to minimize him and make it a run situation. But one thing I just want to throw out there real quick, breaking news that Frank Wright has officially been fired by the Indianapolis Colts.
Wow.
Sad, but I think he'll get another job.
I don't. He's throwing people under the bus. I have inside information. When you fire your offensive coordinator and you're the offensive coordinator, he calls the plays. Poor Marcus Brady got fired. I hate that. All right. Own up. All right. You didn't make it work with Carson. Carson Wentz has probably had a better quarterback than Matt Ryan. Ellinger is just he's out there. I don't know if Wright gets another job.
Interesting. All right, folks, again, welcome to Daily Fish. We're coming to you from Vegas and Myrtle Beach. I'm John Daly. He is Eric Fish Schneider, and we have the Hard Line with John Hardison from the Cost of Winning podcast. And he's got all our sports betting advice. You're going to get his picks a little later on in the show. You got questions or comments, drop them in the chat box, or if you're not watching us or listening to us live, you can email us at dailyfish1@gmail.com. Quick thing, one of the shout outs I had yesterday, which to me was amazing, is the Seattle Seahawks. I think what Pete Carroll has done at the beginning of the season, everybody laughed. Oh, yeah, you're giving up Russell Wilson. You're going to put Geno in there. Oh, my God. This is a good team. I mean, this is a really good team. Granted, the Cardinals, I don't think are as good as they could be. But I was just impressed with everything they did yesterday. I mean, they didn't play a great game, but at the same time, too, they came through. I think what he did is fabulous. I think Pete Carroll deserves a lot of credit. I think he and Belichick, they're over 70 years old, and yet look how, they're actually hanging in there and doing pretty good. One of the other, so I guess the question I got for you, Fish, is should the Raiders just pack it in this year?
No, you don't pack it in, but you have, and Hardline knows about this because I was going to text him. You heard the comments by Derek Carr. Devontae Adams just went off and said, you have to give us a chance to win, and you have to give us packages when you audibilize out. The problem is with Josh McDaniels is they threw him under the bus. He's lost that locker room. You don't pack it in, but they're packing it. I've never seen anything like this. Gabriel Ellis said, be nice. Fuck that. I'm not being nice. I can't be nice on optics. Sorry, Hardline. The Raiders can say what they want. They've done something that's never happened in National Football League in the first half of the season. They've blown leads, 2 17-point leads and a 20-point lead, and I don't want to talk. It's a disaster. And you know what? How do you fix it? I don't know. Ask Mark Davis.
Yeah.
Do I think they pack it in? No. There's still a lot of football left to be played. There's still a lot of football left to be played. I think you start looking at what do you have for next year moving forward. I think you start really having these hard conversations of who do you want to stay, who's going to leave, what can you trade? Because I know there was some speculations on certain players at the trade deadline that certain teams wanted and what you can get for them in terms of value. Look, this year isn't what they thought it was going to be. It's not the way that they envisioned everything going. But again, you have a big overhaul at coaching staff. You have overhaul in terms of certain players. You've got contracts that you've got to talk about. What I would say is, again, when the rubber met the road, in the phrase of Mike Tomlin so eloquently puts it, plays weren't made, and a lot of decisions to try and throw deep instead of throwing mid came to fruition, and it's been a situation and an issue that they've experienced all year. That game that they played was better than New Orleans, but the same at the end. It was the same result.
It was worse. And I one more addendum to that. I'm going to ask Daly a question about this because Daly lived in this market, and so do you. It's a new market for the Raiders. This is only the third year they had fans there. We all know that. All right, you're losing your younger audience. All the young kids that work for me don't want to go. They don't care because you have to win in this town. All right. The Golden Knights are 11-2 or whatever, the Knights. This is Vegas. All right. Yeah. You made a colossal error in thinking that this town's going to love you if you lose. Trust me on that.
No, I agree with you 100%. We saw it all the time. I mean, UNLV is not popular anymore, except,
No.
when they won the national championships way back in the early 1990s. No, it's exactly the way the town is, and it's going to be that way. There's too many other distractions in the town. And you know what? It's a winning town, especially when, people love to
Oh,
gamble.
you win.
They want to gamble on
And
winners.
you know what, Hardline? I guarantee in 5 years we're getting baseball. Baseball's already in trying. They're trying to find a place to play now, and we're definitely getting the NBA. Thank God, we're getting the NBA within 5 years. Places to go right now.
So, all right, let's move on a little college football. My question to you guys is: Can a two-loss team get into the championship, the college football championship now?
Want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead, Fish.
No. TCU was 9-0 and has beaten 4 top 20 teams. No, I watched everything on college football. No respect. They're like it's called. They called it brand identity and putting the 4 teams in. Okay, they're going to go undefeated, I think, and get shut out, which stinks because they're going to have a better record. I could see US. How does USC hardly not play Oregon? Look at their schedule. They got Colorado, USC, and Notre Dame with that big one against Clemson helped their brand.
Yeah.
But SC for the third, don't play Oregon. Say play them in the championship game. I think there's going to be a one-loss team in the Pac-12, a one-loss team in the ACC daily. The SEC is loaded. That Bama LSU game, which it was incredible. Brian Kelly's got balls.
Yep. I would say it's possible, depending on which SEC team makes it to the SEC championship game. And if there is a team that ends up getting 2 losses, but they make it out of that game, that being the second loss, and yes, they'll make it. But in terms of everyone else, no. I think Alabama's done in terms of being able to make that run this year. There's a lot of good teams, like you said, at the top. What it's coming down to really at this point, which is, and this is something that Fish and I have talked about for a while,
Roll Tide.
teams needing to make their schedules 3 years out more competitive. This is the issue that we've come into multiple times with Michigan. I don't understand why Michigan is sitting at number 3 right now when they haven't beaten a team that's at least a top 10, top 15. Their best chance at this point is if they beat Ohio State. And if they don't beat Ohio State, it's another situation of they're probably not going to make it. And it's sad because, look, they play good ball, but you play a shit schedule. And that's the problem. Until you start playing the big dogs, until you start scheduling SEC teams to open up, it's going to be the same thing over and over again. And look at what Ohio State does every year. They go out every year, and they have a team that's at least sitting in the top 10, top 15, and they play a few of them just so that they can establish some dominance.
Real quick, Daddy, for you get your comments. USC, I complained about us on a previous podcast. They played Rice and Fresno State. That doesn't help their brand. They do it every goddamn year.
Yep.
Nope. Let me ask you guys this, because Georgia has Kentucky, and I'm drawing a blank. They have somebody else coming up, and then they got Georgia Tech, which is going to be a rollover game. But they got Kentucky and somebody else who's 6-3 right now. I think those are going to be key games. You just wonder if they're going to have a lapse. Georgia's defense is fabulous. I've got to think they're going to win those 2 games. If they lose one of those games, then they have to go to the championship against somebody else. So you could see a 2-loss, or at least close to that anyway, I would say.
Hardline, why is Stetson Bennett not considered a top quarterback? You know what they said in the game? Danielson said he's only 5'10 and a half. He's taller than Drew Brees and Russell Wilson, who's 5. I've stood next to Russell Wilson, not much taller than me. Made all the reads terrific. I love Hooker, but he got exposed in that game. He was locking on. That great offensive line couldn't hold them. I think he's still a first-round draft pick, but I think that Bennett's brand rose in that game. Don't you guys?
I would say it goes up in that game. What I would say is, look, when you go to the combine, there's characteristics that you're looking for, and he could be a great one. But even guys that are usually about his height and his body stature usually go about 3rd round. They're not first-round picks. Sorry, that's the way it is. Drew Brees wasn't a first round. Russell Wilson wasn't a first round. I don't think Doug Flutie was a first round. So, I mean, look, it just kind of is what it is in that sense.
And how are their careers?
Hey, I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
All right. Next topic. Let's go to a little bit of a World Series wrap, and then talk about what we think might be happening in the Hot Stove League. I thought it was a great series because I thought every game was competitive. I think the Astros deserved to win. I thought the Phillies were a great team, though, and I really enjoyed it. I'm happy for Dusty Baker. But I think baseball did pretty well. The ratings actually on, I think it was game 5, they actually did better on Thursday night than the NFL, according to the different ratings on television. So I think people were involved in it. Give me your
It
takes.
got crushed. It got crushed when it went up against Bama and LSU. And don't talk about a streaming service. They got 15 million people on the Amazon game. Baseball, the ratings were up 1%, but 14% down from 2019. I didn't think it was a great World Series at all. You had a 7-0 game and a 5-0 game. All right. And it's just apparent. The Phillies scored 3 runs, guys, in the last 3 games that they played.
Yeah.
And it was just total. I mean, I like 7-game series. The Astros are that good, but you got to admit, I agree with Daly, man. Dusty Baker is such a great guy. Dodger, 25 years managing, and he's got to the World Series. This is a great. Hey, Dave Roberts, take something from Dusty Baker, buddy.
What do you think, Hardline?
So you know what? It hits different for me. One, I'm extremely happy for Dusty Baker. I read this statistic the other day. Dusty Baker became the 3rd black skipper in the history of baseball to win a World Series. In all the years that we've had, just let that resonate, that him and Dave Roberts in the last 10 years have done something that you really haven't gotten pretty much, in 50, almost 100 years outside of one person. I thought it was a pretty good World Series. I thought Houston really was going to use him as a scapegoat when he took that job after A.J. Hinch. I was kind of waiting on it. But you know what? He rallied them together. I think that even though it maybe beat out Thursday Night Football, which hasn't been a great product this year for the NFL, let's just be honest with it. I think that that's the move that Major League Baseball has to make, is putting more games on streaming, making it more readily available globally to a lot of different people in a lot of different markets. I know they're working with Apple TV Plus right now, but I think, they really got to make that push instead of just being kind of on the regional market stations. For us in Las Vegas, it was great to see Bryce Harper get to the World Series, but I just think that the Phillies were outmatched by the Houston Astros, who have been there. I think that they had a lot of playoff experience at this point. Do I think they'll be back next year, the Phillies? I don't know, because the NL East is loaded, and there's no guarantee. When you're talking about Cohen spending with the Mets, the Braves being that good, and then them there, anything's possible, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, and I think also the Astros, they've got a lot of questions as far as free agency. Dusty's not signed for the next year either, so you may see a lot of changes there as well. Anything you guys are looking at for Hot Stove? Anything that's piquing your interest that we'll be talking about maybe in future shows?
Yeah, Aaron Judge.
No, you said the right thing. You said the right thing. Aaron fucking Boone. Because how does he keep getting re-signed? My God, how does he keep the Steinbrenner children? If you were listening, your father would be sick to his stomach right now that you're allowing this mediocrity to keep being there. Get rid of him. Go get you a skipper that wants to win. Give Aaron Judge the money. There is no reason that New York should be trying to contract negotiate. You gave Alex Rodriguez steroids and all that money. Give the money to Aaron Judge. He could pass a piss test. My God.
I agree. That's the biggest one out there, Daly. I mean, Ohtani, boy, the Angels made out of it. Ohtani's making $30 million just for this first year. For this year, watch when he hits the mark. If he has another year where he wins 16 games with 2.35 ERA and goes for 35 and 100 RBIs, whatever Judge signs for, he's going to go way up above that. Same thing with the NFL. I ask you one thing about the Hot Stove. Just a quick one, guys. What do you think happens in the NFL? What do you think Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert are going to get in the open market next year? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Whew. If they're signed to Sean Watson to $230 million, hasn't played in 2 years, and Kyler Murray's got $130 million guaranteed, I can only imagine what Herbert's going to get. He's that good, and Lamar Jackson's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yep, I agree. All right, soccer greatness this weekend. Fish, tell us about that.
All right. All my family are soccer fans. So they said, you got to watch the MLS Championship, which is in LAFC versus the Philadelphia Union. It wasn't so much that it was a madhouse there and the ratings were great. The watch parties they showed around in Philadelphia and LA were huge. There was 50,000 people at this watch party in this big park in Philadelphia watching this. Okay. For the 9% of Americans, that's 9% of the world. We're 9% of the entire world population. I'm sorry, wrong. We're 14% of the world population. For all the deniers out there that soccer isn't here. It's here. And the MLS, the average salaries are going up to about 230,000. All right. So you're going to see soccer, I think. Now the World Cup's coming up. I think you'll see soccer in the next 10 years attract more youth than than baseball will, only because guys are getting contracts under 18 years old.
Hardline, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I agree with Fish. I think that it's growing. Next 10 years, we'll see. I know they're growing with their TV rights and their contracts. So, look, ESPN doesn't invest in something that they don't believe that they can grow and that they can scale. Do I believe that will overtake baseball? Who knows? But, I mean, it's still – I think even if it did, it still would be third compared to basketball and football. But I do think that it's growing.
Okay. I'm with you guys on that. All right, let's move on to the memes. Fish, what memes have you been fishing for us this week?
My favorite baseball player is one of my dad's, rest in peace, favorite baseball player. And the guy, this guy, the Say Hey Kid, this is Willie Mays and Hank Aaron right here, okay? Mm-hmm. You know what Aaron's saying to him? Can you believe these motherfuckers are making, if Aaron was alive, these motherfuckers are making this kind of money? How can a guy 219 make $30 million a year? And I just have to say, the guy on the left, if you look at the guy in the New York Mets jersey is Willie Mays, my favorite baseball player of all time. He had the greatest line ever, Hardline. They said, Bob Costa said to him, do you regret anything? He goes, yeah, I was born too soon. Yeah. Because of the money. They didn't make any money back then. I want to ask you guys, I'm going to show you a meme of something. I'm going to ask you guys, what was the loudest sporting event you've ever been to? Daily first, and then Hardison, and I'll give you mine on the meme.
The loudest sporting event?
Yeah, baseball, football, hockey. Give me the loudest event you've ever been to, top of your head. That you just, oh my God, I can't hear myself think.
Wow, that's a good one. I would say it might have been, I'm going to say I was in Fenway Park in 2018, August, when the Red Sox swept the Yankees, and Pierce, they just gotten him. He hit 3 home runs in the game and they won 15-8. And the Red Sox were actually down 3-0 after the first 3 batters, and they won 15-8. I think that might have been one of the biggest. I had a feeling that was going to happen that way. There may have been a couple of, I'm trying to think, Hartford Whalers games, believe it or not, when they made the playoffs for the first time in the NHL. So I would say I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with the Red Sox one. Anyway, Hardline, what do you got?
You've never been to a college football or NFL game where you couldn't hear yourself think? They're usually the loudest.
Yeah, I've been to. I was at a Notre Dame game, and that was pretty crazy. I was at a Clemson game, but I was up in the booth area there, so I wasn't in there with the crowd. Plus, they weren't playing anybody big. So anyway, I would go with that. Hardline, what do you got?
Probably Packers Lions. Probably about 2014. Just some of the throws that Aaron Rodgers were making at the time, you were like, everybody was just gasping. It was loud from both sides. Just some of the rainbows, you were like, there's no way that guy can make that pass. And sure as heck, he did.
All right. 1987, LA Sports Arena, where right now LAFC is playing, right next to the Coliseum. They tore the Sports Arena down. There's now a soccer stadium. I went to see these two guys, and my ears were ringing for 3 days. Okay. When Hulk, you laugh. When it was 7th, it was Pat. When Hulk Hogan came out and did that thing, Hardline, where he does like this, it does that. Yeah, it was so loud to the entire thing, I could not believe it. All right, so that, you know what? That I can only imagine. Look how big Andre the Giant's head is. He could bring a keg of beer a day to all you bar aficionados. All right, the Raiders are now auditioning because Carr's not going to be back. So check out who's coming to play quarterback for the Raiders. Gordon Mellon.
He gets no respect.
Gordon Mellon's coming in from back to school. My last meme, I want to keep them kind of quick. Check this out. This is all over the social media right now. I mean, I don't know if this is part of the script, but this is actually not Photoshopped, and this is in the show. One of your favorite shows as a kid in my era was Star Trek. But they're looking at Star Tits right here. Look at Spock and look at Captain Kirk. Wow. I can see Spock saying, this is logical.
Well, it was cold on the set.
The nipples are showing. You know William Shatner, Kirk had to bang that in the show. That's my memes.
There you go. Hey, I got to tell you, one of the things, and I wish I would have been able to download it, was when the Vikings scored a touchdown, they did a bowling celebration.
Great. Yeah.
It was one of the best things I've seen, and that was choreographed. And I'm thinking, like, You guys had to spend a lot of time doing that, and you should have been probably paying attention more to your defense or something like that. But it was fabulous. It was one of the best ones. If you get a chance to see it, go take a look at it. That's for sure. It's good. All right, cool. All right, folks, thanks for joining us here again. We are Daily Fish. We talk sports, entertainment, politics, everything in between, just like you do. No woke, no extreme, no social justice cops here. You got a problem with us? That's all right. Suck it up. You have questions or comments, drop them in the Dropbox or email us at dailyfish1@gmail.com. All right, now it's time for our schmuck of the week. What do you got, Fish?
I got some great tweets, and this is good for our listening audience. Thank you, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, iHeart, all our platforms on audio are really blowing up, and we appreciate it. So instead of putting a schmuck, check out some of these tweets. I'll have each of you guys read one. I'll go for the first one. Okay, this is Space Cadet Stephanie. My roommate in college used to wash her feet by putting them one at a time into a toilet and flushing. No soap, just a flush. All right, Hardline, you go for the next. These are actual tweets. I have through a few. Go for this one, Hardline.
My brother once stared in a mirror for 5 minutes because he couldn't figure out why his hair parted on different sides in the real world and in the mirror. Same brother in his 20s called 911 when his power went out. Oh my God.
All right, Taylor, you go for this one, young man. This is great.
I had a friend who put a frozen burrito in the microwave, and when it didn't heat up, she threw the burrito away and tried heating up a different one. Perfect.
All right, I'll go with this one. We'll have Hardline close it. I'll do this one. My brother-in-law had a high school girlfriend who thought Abraham Lincoln was the first black president because it was brown on the penny. My mother-in-law's reply to her was, quote, and he's green on the $5 bill. That doesn't mean he's a Martian. All right, take it away there, Mr. Hard.
I heard about a guy shooting his new semi-automatic pistol for the first time. After the first few rounds, there were no holes in his paper target, so he assumed the gun was malfunctioning. To check, he aimed it at the palm of his other hand, fired, and found his answer. God.
Is that great? Those are actual tweets, and I think that's phenomenal.
That's why you need aptitude tests for guns. Absolutely. All right. So that is our lineup of schmucks of the week. Let's go to who's got the swag. Who are we going to be toasting this week, Fish?
Okay, I'm going to show you a video. Now, this guy's name is Sebastian Stutner. He just broke the record in Azari, Portugal. If you are an aficionado and fan and an actual participant in surfing, check out this. This is from 2018.
Wow. That was it. Now, where was that? Was that in Hawaii?
It's Azari, Portugal. Okay.
Portugal. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Sebastian. I don't know if you could hear my voice over that. That's Sebastian Stutner. Can you guys hear me talk during that, or was it just the video?
No, you were muted during that. Yeah.
Muted. Okay, that's a 102-foot wave. He just broke that record 3 days ago in Azari. Did a 115-foot wave. Total swag. Take your lifeline. Yeah. I got another one. Here's a great one. Okay, this lady right here is Ramosa Helgi. She's the tallest woman in the world. She's 7'3", and she's huge in human rights in the country of Turkey, which is Muslim. And she finally got the right to fly in a plane because they wouldn't let her fly. Number one, she's tall. So good. She's swag. Good for you. You're helping people out in the Muslim country. Because she was so tall, she finally found a plane that could fit her.
Wow. All right. And now we are going to do our drink of the week. And unfortunately, because we had the technical difficulties, we didn't get a chance to talk about that. Do we have a drink of the week this week, Fish?
Well, you said this is Dr. Pepper, but make believe it's Dusty Baker's wine. Okay, you told me in the pregame that Dusty Baker makes a wine, and to Ramosa Helgi, to Sebastian Stutner, and to Dusty, man, good guy. You root for guys like that manage so long. And he's the third African American to win a World Series.
Yes.
Who's
Manager.
Dave Roberts. Who's the other one? Frank Robinson?
Frank Robinson. Wasn't it Frank
Uh,
Robinson?
Frank Robinson? Okay, yeah. Well, to those guys, to Dusty
Yep.
Baker, I drink a Dr. Pepper to you, but it's really your wine.
Yep. And I'd have red wine, but unfortunately we had some technical difficulties, so we didn't get around to doing that. So also, hey, I just want to throw a toast up to Judy Tenuta. She's the comedian who died just recently. Fish and I had on Randy Rausch, who's a former meteorologist in Las Vegas with me. He has American broadcast talent. He teaches people how to do that. And he literally had Judy Tenuta come on and do the weather with him. And while I'm doing a newscast, she goes and lies across the anchor desk while I'm doing it with Kathy Ray. And it was so incredible. And unfortunately, she just passed away. She was 70 years old. So I want to toast Judy Tenuta as well.
So the three that have won were Dave Roberts, Dusty Baker, and Cito Gaston.
Cito Gaston.
Oh my
Cito
God.
Gaston, Frank Robinson. Hey, guys. First of all, Randy Rauch is the greatest John Gruden lookalike I've ever seen. I got more comments than that. He lives in Florida. Hey, guys, real quick to me. Shout out, another rest in peace. Always coming threes. Hopefully we're not the third. Ray Guy passed away this weekend. Yeah. He had a rough life after. One of the greatest, only punter in the Hall of Fame. He's famous for hitting the Superdome. They wouldn't let him punt in the Superdome because he hit the Jumbotron. The greatest coffin corner kicker I've ever seen again. Mm-hmm. Rest in peace. Went too young. Only 72 years old.
Yep. He could hit him high and soft. That's for sure.
Remember that guy, Daly? Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Great wow. What a leg. All right.
Yeah.
All right. And the Daily Fish Drink of the Week, of course, is brought to you by Shucks Tavern in Vegas. Great seafood and drinks, 2 locations. Head to Shucks Tavern on North Durango on the northwest side of town, and guess what you find? You find fish overnight. Say Daily Fish Podcast, you get a free drink. Do it the next day, a free appetizer. That's Shucks Tavern. Check out Shucks Tavern on Facebook, and we're also going to, in the next segment, we're going to talk about the Last Man Standing as well. Again, we're Daily Fish here. We're on Facebook at daily.fish.5. You can subscribe there. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube. We're on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, and Amazon, so you can listen to us. You don't have to watch us, but you can watch us on the Myrtle Beach Golf Channel, which is on Facebook, Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life, also on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube at Daily Fish, and also Wingding TV and Hey Vegas TV. We're all over the place, so check us out. See if our different posts there, because we're on Twitter and Facebook as well, so we post a lot of stuff. Keep you updated throughout the week. All right, now let's get some bets from the Daily Fish Hardline. Again, he is John Hardison. He has the podcast called The Cost of Winning, focusing on fantasy sports and betting as well. He's on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcast as well. Hardline, let's start off with Monday Night Football. Saints are home to the Ravens. Who are you picking on that one?
So, I know a lot of people, the money's on the Ravens this week, tonight to win. A lot of people like them. I actually like the Saints. Look, the Ravens are without Rashad Bateman. I believe he's done for the season. No Mark Andrews tonight. Gus Edwards is banged up. So that's pretty much a lot of his firepower. He's pretty much throwing to an old 30-plus-year-old Deshaun Jackson. Not a big fan of that. And Isaiah Likely. I think the Saints get it done. I don't think that the Ravens have an answer for Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave. And if they get Jarvis Landry back, that only adds to the pot. And I think you're going to see Taysom Hill be using the gadget play role. I like the Saints tonight.
Cool. College football. TCU and Texas. Be nice. Be nice, but be real.
So you know what? Look, TCU
+7 -110. Go.
So you know what? Look, TCU's playing good ball right now. More consistent. Consistency is key. Better than Texas right now. But you know what? They usually play each other very close. It's going to probably be a back and forth game. I like TCU +7 to cover. I think that I don't think that they'll lose, but I think they'll keep it relatively close to at least they cover the 7 points.
All right, more college football. Purdue and Illinois. We wouldn't have thought this would have been an interesting game. Again, they're not up on the top there, but Illinois having actually a pretty good year. Who are you going with in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Illinois. Actually, they need this. They really need this game this week to kind of stay to get to that bowl eligibility, to have a decent bowl game. Purdue hasn't been anything really marvelous this year. They've been okay up and down, but I think Illinois gets the job done this weekend.
John, you go again. So I want to ask him about the first pro game that he's doing. You go with the next one.
All right. So Pac-12, Washington and Oregon. Who you got in this? This could be a high-scoring game.
You know what? It could be a high-scoring game. I'm actually going under 70.5. I think that Oregon's got a pretty decent defense. So does Washington. I think that, they'll kind of fill each other out. I know that Oregon kind of put it on UCLA a few weeks ago, kind of made a statement. But I think that it goes under 70.5. I think that you'll get high scoring, but I don't think it's going to hit that over mark. But we did hit the over last week, damn near SMU on their own, and that SMU game that we called last week to hit over.
Yeah.
Are you? We're going to pro football right now. Are you a masochist? Do you like to inflict pain on other people? I thought you were my friend. I know you work at the Green Door and you dress in leather and straps, and that's why all the girls come in at Chuck's Tavern and say, "Where that handsome man at?" Why would you go Colts? Why would you do a game? You're the best prognosticator I've ever met. Why would you do the Colts at the Raiders and a money line? Two teams that stink, and now we have a coaching change. I'll tell you, I'm betting the under. Go.
You know what, at Devontae, we got to find ways to stop beating ourselves this way. Look, the Colts are a crap show. I don't think if Jonathan Taylor doesn't play, if Sam Ellinger is your quarterback, they barely got any wide receiver play. They traded Nyheim Hines. At this point, I think the Raiders have to win. Look, the defensive line for the Raiders has been good. Derek Carr, for God's sakes, throw some intermediate routes. I think he'll figure it out. They're at home. So they're not on the road traveling that they were. I think that the Raiders get the win in this situation. Now, going forward, do I think they get many wins? Who knows? But at least this week, I think they'll get it.
I don't want to pick on you, Raider Nation, but the Raiders haven't had a fucking sack in 5 games. They're last in the league in sacks, and they're last in the league in run defense. Their defensive line stinks with Max Crosby and what's the idiot they signed as half a sack? What's the kid? Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones.
Yeah, I would stay away. Do what Hardline does. Stay away from that game.
Yeah.
Hey, well, here's the thing, Fish. At the end of it all, when everything goes to 0, there's going to be a winner and a loser. And you just hope, no matter if it's by 1 point or 3, that you're on the right side of greatness that day.
Oh, okay. All right, Hardline. Good. And Mark Twain once said in an interview, "No one gets off this planet alive." Okay. Go ahead, John. Take it. Do the next 2.
All right.
Here.
So we got the Cowboys going to Green Bay. What are you taking on this one?
You know what? I actually like the Cowboys money line. I don't know if they'll cover the 5 or 5.5 that they're laying right now. I think that's a trap, especially the Cowboys going outside to play. They don't play very well in cold weather climates, especially we saw that when they went to Philly and even played in Philadelphia. I do think they're better than the Packers at this point. I think the Packers are just going to tank to try and get as high up the board as they can, so they're in a race with the Detroit Lions. So right now I'm going to take the Cowboys to win this game this weekend.
All right. These are 2 very disappointing teams besides my own. The Cardinals and the Rams. We will talk about the hot stove, about the coaching. Next week we'll talk about who's going to get fired. We've seen Matt Rule and today Frank Reich. I think Kingsbury's on the hot seat. What do you think of this game between the Cardinals and the Rams? You got the Rams minus 3.5 and a book of 106. What do you got?
So you know what? It's crazy. The Rams defense and the Cardinals defenses aren't bad actually this year. They're really not. It's the offenses that are stagnant. I think there's a lot of issues down in Arizona right now with the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is like top 5 in being sacked. They can't really protect him. They've got a lot of long developing routes for some reason, Cliff Kingsbury's offense, and that's not going to work against the Rams very well. I think watch Aaron Donald. I think he's going to have a hell of a day. I think Jalen Ramsey's probably going to get a couple picks. At this point, I think it's the Rams easy. The Rams cover minus 3.5, and I think Matt Stafford at least throws for 2 tuds.
All righty. Okay, let's go and talk about last man standing because Daily Fish is now out of it. We made probably what I thought would be the easiest pick, and we lost. Fish
took the Buffalo Bills against the Jets, and you know what? I should have. You always second guess yourself. So I take Minnesota, Cincinnati. We made it 9 weeks. There's 9 people left, but John promotes something that's going to be on pretty soon. Let me ask you something about the one glove hard line. Were you wearing that one glove and doing things yourself when Aaron Rodgers threw 3 interceptions in the red zone against the Lions? I can only imagine your handsome face. You probably had a big Subway sandwich in front of you and Ben & Jerry's ice cream. You know, those fat guys in the movie Meatballs eat when the teams win. I mean, 3 interceptions in the red zone? When's the last time that happened?
You know what? It's unheard of, but I told, our listeners to go ahead and take the Lions last week plus 3.5.
did.
Look, I told you before, and I said it again. Once that Devontae Adams trade happened, I didn't know how well that the Packers would be. I told you it would be a race between the Packers and Minnesota. And now look, it could be Chicago because, Justin Fields is finally coming into his own. But I really believe going into this offseason, I'll say this right now, Aaron Rodgers, if he hasn't done it already, is going to be demanding a trade. I don't think he wants to be there. I don't think he wants to go through the growing pains. I don't think that he believes in those young receivers are getting better, and I don't think that they're going to do much to have that happen. I think that he's out. I would not be surprised if they take on the rest of that contract and maybe he does come to the Raiders and they can get out of Derek Carr's extension. What I would tell you is this, hypothetically speaking, because nothing is on the table and nothing's taken off right now. If you brought to the desert Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, and you got Darren Waller to legitimately commit, you're looking at a team that's possibly going to the AFC Championship game.
If there's a defense, because what Fish was talking about, I think the defense is one of the big problems. How do you have a 17-point lead and blow that lead?
Well, here's the thing about that 17-point lead. Here's the thing about that 17-point lead, Daly. You got to keep putting up points. In that second half, they could not manufacture points really to save their life. The first half looks great. It's the second half. You know what I mean? It's like a mermaid. Like from the top, you're like, oh, it's beautiful. And then you get underneath, you're like, oh, shit.
Hey, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that fish bottom.
Yeah. Don't get fishy. Don't get fishy on us here.
All right, buddy.
All right. And that is the Daily Fish Hardline with John Hardison, the Cost of Winning podcast. You can find him here with us all the time. He's also on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcast. Hardline sticks around. So we get into some more controversial stuff. We mentioned the One Glove. Get a grip on your golf game with this new revolutionary golf glove. It's called the One Glove. Notice the finger it covers, Fish, right? Now I use it all the time now, and it's really helped my game. You get a better feel for the grip. Plus, you don't have to take it off when you're chipping and putting. You can wash it. It lasts 3 times longer than a regular golf glove. To get the One Glove, all you do is go to theonegolfglove.com. Put in the code DailyFish. You get a deal on it. That's theonegolfglove.com. Promo code DailyFish.
I don't want to tell you what I use it for, what Hardline used it for yesterday.
All right. Speaking of controversy, all right. Big elections coming up, obviously, tomorrow. And we're going to find out some stuff. Let me ask you this. You guys worried? You guys concerned?
Well, we're going to see some things happen. For the first time I hear – I got to go to you on this because there's so much stuff coming out from all the pundits. And I'm going to go to Bill Marley after you guys talk. New York. When's the last time New York had a Republican governor? I don't know. I didn't do my research on this.
George Pataki.
When?
You were would have been in the late 1990s.
Okay, that's not too far away. And our state, Lombardo for governor, Hardline, and Adam Laxalt for Senate, they're leading right now going into tomorrow's, the final day to vote. So we could see Nevada turn red, New York having a governor that's red. I think the midterms are going to. I think it's going to go red. What do you think, Hardline?
No, I think the sea of red. I think there's a bunch of independent voters that aren't happy with everything that's going on right now, and I think they're going leaning more towards the right. I mean, there's a lot of things. Look, I was surprised when Sisolak won the last time. Be honest, because in the state of Nevada, when was the last time we had a Democratic governor before Sisolak? When was it, in the 70s?
Yeah.
No, we had 1990. We had, and I covered him too. Great guy.
George something, right? No.
And he unfortunately he passed away. He actually fell off the roof of his house up in northern Nevada. And
that's what they say.
No. He was a great guy. I actually covered his Kenny Gwynn, and I actually covered him that. And then once I was at Real TV, they brought me in to MC his inauguration. So I did his inaugural up in North and all that. He was a great guy. But yeah, I think he was the last Republican governor we had.
But there's a lot of change.
Brian Sandoval
just recently. You're right. Yes.
No, yeah.
I thought Sandoval was Republican.
He is Republican.
Yeah. So I mean, So I mean, yeah, I mean there's a lot of things. I mean, even the Senate race that's going on in Pennsylvania right now is a big one. I think that's going to be, kind of close back and forth. I think people are just tired. I think that there's a lot of things that are going on, that a lot of change that people want to see. I think the idea was, maybe lean a little blue and see what happens, and it hasn't worked out the way that they thought. This is going to be interesting if it turns red, what this means for a lot of things moving forward over the next 2 years and where we go from there. And look, supposedly, I don't know if I've heard different things. I don't know if he is going to make his speech this month or not, but I've heard things of Trump saying that he wants to run again for 2024, and maybe that he was going to come out and say it this month or at, beginning of next year. But there's a lot of questions moving forward over this next 2 years. Where are we going to go, and what does this look like? But I think it's going to be a sea of red.
I'll tell you what I think. I'll go to Daly on this. Always go to Daly. Always defer to Daly on this. I think if the Republicans win the House, they're going to try and impeach Joe Biden. And it'll be, will it get anywhere? No, but it'll make him more of a lame duck president. You agree, Daly?
I think if the Republicans take over both houses, I think you're going to see a lot of stagnation as far as policies getting things done. They're going to stop Biden from doing anything. If there's a Supreme Court justice there, Mitch McConnell's going to do the same thing he did when Obama was in there. I'm not certain yet. I just don't know if I believe the polls. I keep talking about Harry Reid and Sharon Angle in Nevada. Harry Reid was supposed to, he was down 6 points the day before, and he won by 6 points. How do you make up 12? I don't think people are talking to pollsters correctly. I think there's a lot of young voters that are coming out that I think are going to be more Democratic. So I don't think we know. I think there's going to be some surprises tomorrow. Do I think the Republicans will make some gains? Yeah. If I had to be the hard line and I'm going to make predictions, I think the Democrats barely hold on, and I think they actually make a small gain in the Senate, and I think they hold on in the House. I don't know why. I'm just kind of looking at it that way. I just don't feel like a lot of people are willing to make that move. I do think Trump is going to fairly soon to make the announcement that he is going to run. One of the reasons is because he's got DeSantis down in Florida. I think DeSantis wins easily in the governor's race, and then I think he's going to want to he's going to run there. DeSantis and Trump do not like each other. This is a big split for the Republican Party. So you may see something strange happen there. I think at the same time too, when the second half of the 4-year term, usually Clinton did better in the second half and Obama did better in the second half because the Republicans took over and the Republicans started putting in some supply side economics that didn't seem to work out. So I don't know what's going to happen in 2024, but yeah, I do believe that you're going to see some stuff. If the Republicans do take over both, and if there's a lot of anger, I mean, there's going to be some goofy stuff. If Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be one of the leaders in the Republican Party, you're going to see some strange bills trying to be passed, and you're going to start seeing some, crazy stuff like, Israeli lasers, being outlawed. I think there's a lot of people on edge, and I'm sure Wednesday morning it's going to be, who knows? It's going to be very, very strange.
Yeah. Dr. Oz and Herschel Walker. I think this whole thing about, well, I should run. What the hell? Dr. Oz. I mean, come on, got a chance to win. And Herschel Walker and Raphael, what's his name, Warnock down there. That's a great race. I don't know. One thing you brought up about Donald Trump. Every single pundit on CNN, from Jake Tapper, John King, they all talk about Trump's run in 2024. So where's all this bullshit about all these indictments coming down? And January 6th, if they're all talking about Trump running, it means that the media thinks that nothing's going to happen to this guy. So why do we even listen to the media or follow any of these stories? Like you say, you don't trust the polls. Who are you texting, John? Who are you texting?
I'm not texting. No, I'm taking off the one glove. So that
the one glove on? Oh, we know what you're doing with that one glove. I'm surprised you don't.
So I can pick my nose. Yeah.
But no, but I think you're right. And I mean, look, I think John said something that's very poignant, and it's true. And it goes back to the last election where a lot of people aren't really telling pollsters who they really want to vote for. I think they're keeping it close to the chest. I think it's the idea of I don't want to be necessarily associated with the person that I'm voting for because I find that, I don't really believe in all their politics, but it's kind of the best of the rest situation. And I think that, it's one of those wait and see kind of situations moving forward now. We're not going to really know who's, I guess, really in the lead until all is said and done because people don't feel confident sharing their opinion anymore.
Yeah. Well, and plus also when you're going to be watching the returns, just remember that, there's a lot of the absentee ballots that are going to be coming in. They get counted later and they're going to be mostly left or Democrat. So, one of the things you're going to hear that the Republicans are ahead in the early count because those are the votes that were done election day. So you're gonna start seeing some stuff there. You're definitely going to hear if somebody loses, they're going to be crying that. But your comment before about to be honest with you, the three of us should have been able to run for presidency. I mean, I have interviewed so many people who are either congressmen or senators, and some of them are the dumbest people I have ever talked to. And I've walked away from them saying to myself, I know more than you do. I asked you questions. You're clueless as to what I'm asking you about.
Tommy Tuberville.
Too many of them out there. And,
can I give you a story? I'm in Oakland covering a Raider game, and I turn the TV set in the hotel room, the Quinta Inn, and I see Schwarzenegger is running for governor, right? And he's at a podium, and he's taking questions. He goes, I'll answer some questions. The lady goes, Mr. Schwarzenegger, we have a really, really bad educational system here in the state of California. We're ranked right now the lowest we've ever been. He goes, what is your plan to make education better for middle schools and high schools in California? He looks at her and he goes, we will win. He never answered the question, Oh, real quick, guys, bring up four. I saw a comedian. There's 4 things that Schwarzenegger says in every one of his movies, in 9 of the 12 movies. I'll give it to you. Get to the chopper. I'll be back. Get down. Do it now. I had to get that in. But yeah, I mean, politics-wise, it's fun. Tomorrow night will be fun to watch. What do you watch, John? What do you go back and forth daily on the networks, or you stay on your phone? Which network provides the greatest analysis and facts concerning the elections that you trust?
I think they're all about even. For the most part, I'll balance off Fox News and CNN a good part of the time. I'll go to NBC because I love Kornacki, and I love his the way he breaks things down statistically without coming across as one side or the other. So I like to do some jumping. So I'll have a couple of TV sets. I'm like you with football. I'll have a couple of TV sets on, and I'll have the my iPhone is set up to a ton of Twitter sites. So I'll get stuff as it's breaking. But for the most part, it's just kind of seeing everything and bouncing all around. Most of them usually get the calls at around the same time, and most of them do the calls around the same time because they have their own election officials that they have that are working for them there. But yeah, I'd go just like I would do news, just watch a lot of them.
Yeah. Hardline, is there anything that really concerns you as far as, I'm going to get controversial here. Is there anything, that we kind of get really controversial? Is there anything that really concerns you on any of these candidates of anyone in the United States that says this is really toxic? John brought up Marjorie Taylor Greene to me because I know she's anti-Semitic, and she got away with it by saying Jewish aliens started the fires in California last year. Yeah. Rand Paul was laughing on the floor of Congress, If she would have said the BLM started that, they're walking her out the straight concert, and so that's a toxic person that concerns me. How about you? Anyone?
You know what? There's I've tried to read Lombardo's website. I've tried to read Laxalt's website. The biggest thing is, even if they're going through, there's no plan, right? That's the biggest thing for me is reading their thing. They're just, I'm opposed to this. But what is your plan? What are you going to do that's different than Sisolak? What are you going to do that's different than Ford? Because you haven't said anything on your platform where you're supposed to lay out what you want to do, anything. And look, I'm a an individual rights type guy. The whole situation in terms of abortion is big to me. I get it if it's from your religious standpoint that you don't believe in it, and that's fine. I'm not trying to convince anyone one way or another, but I also understand that, look, it's your decision, it's your body, it's your right to do what you feel that's the best for you, and you make that decision. I'm a big fan of you having that decision in life to make whatever best for you, whether it's whether you want a medical procedure or not, being at that, whether the doctor says you're having a heart attack, you need to go get a stent, and you don't want to do it. I think that's the biggest thing for me, and just figuring out where people stand on you can get it or you can't. It's banned because I feel this way or not. I think that's the most important thing, and why the architects of this country said, look, there's a separation of church and state and freedom of religion.
I'm getting this is breaking news on Frank Reich. I'm getting multiple stuff to my phone. Looking down, this is insane. Jeff Saturday is a new Colts coach, and I can't get that confirmed. He's sitting on the ESPN desk there daily yesterday. Yeah. I have not confirmed that yet. But 3 people that I know that I like have said that to me. But they're also idiots that also try and mess me up to say something on the show. You guys find anything like that? That's the first time I've ever seen a guy get fired and there's not an interim coach on the staff. So don't quote me on this. It's not confirmed, but if it is, that's crazy.
There's no special teams coach.
Anyone,
Yeah,
where's Frank Versace?
No, I'm not seeing any. That Saturday has been hired. It's just Reich being fired. So not seeing that yet.
We'll see. Keep an eye on that one. But that'd be interesting. That'd be like Dr. Oz winning. Here, use this medicine if you have a hard time masturbating. And anyways, I'm running for Congress. It's crazy. Wednesday, hey, you know what? Let's. The bottom line is, can we all get politicians in there, whether you're red or you're blue, that give a shit about what's right and doing what's right for Americans? It's all that matters. There's 338 million of us. Get in there and do what's right. I don't know. Am I asking too much?
Nope. Unfortunately, all of them are making a lot of money on the side. So that's what's going on, and that's why they're protecting the people who send them all the money.
I will say this though, I wish well wishes to Nancy Pelosi's husband in a speedy recovery. It is, we talk about politics all the time, but at the end of the day, a lot of these people are still human, and I feel bad for her husband. He got that fractured skull from the guy that broke into the house, and I hope that guy that they caught gets justice for, gets what he deserves for doing that.
Did it shock you? We got 2 minutes. Did it shock you that the response from a lot of politicians was nil, and some things on Twitter were actually vile in what people said? And the guy where I think I said this last week. Where's compassion? Who cares what you are? The guy got his ass kicked. He's 80 years old. Yeah,
it's a brash game now, and what I thought was really interesting, I think it was MSNBC showed the clip of Nancy Pelosi after Steve Scalise got shot, and she was in tears, and she's saying, this is horrible, this is awful. They condemned the person. Even Bernie Sanders came out and did it, and so they started comparing it. I don't know if this is fair or not, but it certainly helps the Democratic side that they were upset when Steve Scalise was shot by somebody who was a supporter. And you didn't get a lot of Republicans stepping up and saying much, or if they did, they were joking about it. So I agree with you. I think that hurts them.
I have to tell people who I'm voting for because I want to get controversy. This is who I'm voting for Congress. All right, here. and let me tell you what I'm voting for. Actually, for my for my campaign manager, her.
Yeah. She'll point you in the right direction.
Very cold. You can tell.
Oh, they're good ones. She'll point you in the right direction. On that note, I'm out. Hey, good enough for Spock and Kirk. Good enough for us 3, buddy.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Again, we're Daily Fish. We're on Facebook at daily.fish.5. You can subscribe there. Also on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, and Amazon. You can watch us on Facebook, Myrtle Beach Golf Channel, Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. And you can check us out on YouTube, Wingding TV and Hey Vegas TV. And don't forget, say hey and Hammer and Hank.
Love it. Got it. You know what? That's Hardline. I love you to death. You're one of my best friends, man. But John did, I'll tell you, these guys meant so much to our lives in baseball and what they had to
Absolutely.
go through, and just phenomenal. They get swag every week. They're in the Hall of Fame of swag on our show. All right.
Say
How
hey.
old, how old is Say Hey now? About 90?
He's like 92, 93. Yeah.
God bless him.